There is a room, quiet and removed from the city's hum. In the center of this room sits a possibility, a threshold between the life you have led and a life that could be. It is presented not as a demand, but as a quiet invitation. The offer is simple: to step away from the world as it is and enter a world as it could be. It is a machine capable of providing any experience you desire. Once you enter, the memory of the transition fades. You would not know you are inside. You would simply be. The air would feel the same against your skin. The coffee would taste just as bitter or sweet. The people you meet would speak with the same cadence and warmth. It is a seamless transition from a reality of chance to a reality of design. We begin here, at the edge of the frame, looking at the door that leads inward. There is no clock on the wall, and no pressure to decide quickly. There is only the offer, sitting still in the cool, dim light of the afternoon. Happiness is often described as a fleeting thing, a visitor that arrives unannounced and leaves without warning. We spend much of our lives chasing it, trying to catch it in the corners of our achievements or the quiet moments of our relationships. But the machine changes the nature of the pursuit. Within its circuits, happiness is not an accident. It is the foundation. It is the baseline of existence. Every morning you wake up inside the simulation, you feel a sense of purpose and contentment. The heavy fog of unearned sadness is lifted. The sharp edges of disappointment are smoothed away. It is a life where the chemistry of the brain is held in a perfect, golden equilibrium. One might wonder what it would feel like to never have to wonder if today will be a good day. To know, with mathematical certainty, that the sun will feel warm and the heart will feel light. It is a promise of a life lived entirely within the glow of a permanent sunset, where the light never quite fades into the cold. We are told from a young age that pain is a teacher, that it carves out the space where joy will eventually live. But pain is also exhausting. There are types of suffering that do not feel like lessons, they feel like weight. The machine offers a world without that weight. There are no sudden losses here. There is no physical decay that outpaces the spirit. The stabs of regret and the slow ache of loneliness are absent from the code. It is a sterile environment, not in the sense of being cold, but in the sense of being protected. It is a sanctuary from the inherent cruelty of chance. In this space, the concept of suffering becomes an abstract historical term, something that happened to people in the past or in books, but never to you. You are held in a gentle, unending grace. If the price of growth is pain, the machine asks if you have perhaps grown enough already. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, you deserve to simply rest in the absence of harm. The fidelity of the simulation is absolute. It does not look like a screen or feel like a dream. It is as crisp as the morning air after a rainstorm. When you touch the bark of a tree, it is rough and cool. When you hear the sound of a distant train, the acoustics are perfect, echoing off the hills in a way that feels entirely right. The engineers of this experience have mapped every sensory detail of the human experience. They have accounted for the way light scatters through a leaf and the way a voice sounds when it is hushed by a secret. It is a masterpiece of mimicry. Because it is indistinguishable from reality, the word artificial loses its meaning once you are inside. To the person living it, there is no inside or outside. There is only the experience of being. The machine does not replace the world. It creates a version of it that is more consistent, more vibrant, and more reliable than the one we were born into. Many of us live with a quiet sense of not enough time, not enough talent, not enough connection. We carry a list of things we wish we had done or people we wish we could have become. The machine offers a way to close that gap. In the simulation, you can be the person you always suspected lived inside you. You can master the arts, find the perfect vocation, and achieve a sense of flow that lasts for decades. Fulfillment is no longer a rare peak at the end of a long climb. It is the terrain itself. You are successful because the world responds to your efforts with the outcome you desire. Your creative projects are finished, your goals are met, and your curiosity is always rewarded with discovery. It is a life where the what-ifs are finally answered. The tension between who you are and who you want to be is resolved, leaving only the quiet satisfaction of a life well lived, even if that living is a digital echo. Despite the promise of perfection, there is often a pause before the choice is made. It is a hesitation that is difficult to name. It isn't necessarily fear, and it isn't necessarily a lack of trust in the technology. It is something more primal. A small, stubborn part of the mind whispers that something is being left behind. Even when presented with a world of endless joy, we find ourselves looking back at the flawed gray reality we currently inhabit. We think of the chipped coffee mugs, the cold walks to the bus stop, and the messy, unresolved arguments. There is a strange gravity to the real, even when the real is unpleasant. Why does the hand hover over the accept button? What is the value of a world that is objectively worse than the one being offered? We stand in the hallway between two worlds, and the silence there is heavy with a question we cannot quite articulate. The question of the machine is unsettling because it forces us to define what we actually value. If we say we want to be happy, and the machine provides happiness, then refusing it suggests that happiness is not actually our primary goal. This creates a friction in our self-understanding. If we aren't chasing happiness, then what are we doing here? The unease comes from the possibility that our lives are built on a foundation we don't fully understand. It suggests that there is a difference between feeling a certain way and that feeling being true. We worry that by entering the machine, we are becoming the victims of a beautiful lie. But then we must ask, if the lie is perfect and we never know it's a lie, does the truth even matter? The discomfort stays with us, a low-frequency hum in the background of our thoughts, reminding us that we are choosing between a comfortable fiction and a difficult truth. If the machine could give you the feeling of 1,000 sunsets, the taste of the finest meals, and the thrill of every victory, would that be enough to constitute a good life? We often treat pleasure as the currency of well-being, but in the silence of the night, we might wonder if a life made only of good feelings is a life at all, or just a sophisticated carousel. There is a distinction between the pleasure of eating an apple and the chemical signal of having eaten one. The machine provides the signal. It bypasses the act and goes straight to the reward. For some, this is the ultimate efficiency. Why endure the struggle if the reward is what we really want? For others, the signal feels hollow without the journey that preceded it. The machine challenges us to decide if the destination is all that matters, or if the walking, the actual physical walking, is where the value is hidden. Consider the difference between feeling like you have written a great novel and actually having written one. In the machine, the pride, the exhaustion of the creative process, and the satisfaction of the final word are all present. They are indistinguishable from the real versions of those feelings. But in the world outside, there is no book. There are no pages. There is only a person in a chair, dreaming of ink. This is the core of the dilemma, the gap between the internal state and the external reality. We tend to believe that our actions should leave a mark on the world, however small. We want to be things, not just feel as though we are things. Yet, if the internal experience is all we ever truly have access to, why does the external reality carry so much weight? The machine suggests that being is just a collection of feelings, while our intuition insists there is a ghost of something more. There is a specific kind of beauty in friction. The way a muscle grows stronger by tearing, or the way a diamond is formed under immense pressure. We often find that our most meaningful memories are tied to things that were difficult. We remember the mountain we almost didn't finish climbing more vividly than the one we drove to the top of. The machine, by its nature, removes this friction. It offers the summit without the ache in the lungs. It offers the resolution without the conflict. But if you take away the possibility of failure, do you also take away the weight of success? If every move you make is guaranteed to be the right one, does the rightness lose its shine? We are creatures built for a world of resistance. Without something to push against, we might worry that we would simply drift away, becoming ghosts in a world of silk and honey. We often find ourselves searching for meaning as if it were a hidden object. We look for it in our work, our families, and our struggles. There is a persistent idea that meaning is something earned, a byproduct of navigating a world that does not always care about our desires. If the machine provides a world that is perfectly tailored to us, does meaning evaporate? In a universe where every wish is granted, the why behind our actions might begin to dissolve. If you can have everything, does anything matter? It is a strange paradox. We work our whole lives to reach a state of ease, yet we fear that total ease would render our lives meaningless. The machine invites us to test this. It asks if meaning is an essential nutrient or just a coping mechanism we developed to deal with a harsh reality. Perhaps, in the absence of difficulty, we would find a new kind of meaning, one based on play rather than survival. We use the word authentic to describe things that are true to their origins. A hand-carved chair, a spontaneous laugh, a real sunset. But what does authenticity mean in a world of perfect simulation? If a digital sunset is visually identical to a physical one, in what way is it inauthentic? The photons hitting your eyes are real. The emotional response in your brain is real. The memory of the moment will be real. The only thing that is fake is the source, but we are rarely in contact with the source of anything. We see the world through the interface of our senses and the processing of our minds. The machine simply replaces one source with another. If the experience is indistinguishable, then the claim of inauthenticity becomes a philosophical ghost, a feeling that something is wrong, even when every measurement says it is right. We are left to wonder if the real has a value beyond its appearance. Perhaps the most difficult part of the offer concerns other people. The machine can populate your world with friends, family, and lovers. They will be kind, witty, and deeply supportive. They will challenge you in ways that make you grow, and they will hold you when you are weary. But they are part of the program. They are complex algorithms designed to give you the experience of being loved. Would that love feel different if you knew, somewhere in the back of your mind, that they didn't exist outside your own consciousness? We tend to think of love as a bridge between two separate realities. In the machine, there is only one reality. The bridge leads back to yourself. And yet, many people in the real world are lonely, despite being surrounded by real people. The machine offers a cure for that loneliness. It asks if the feeling of being known is more important than the actual existence of another knower. Imagine you have lived a long, happy life. You have seen the world, loved deeply, and found peace. Then, on your deathbed, someone whispers to you that it was all a simulation, that you have been in the machine the whole time. Does that revelation retroactively ruin the life you lived? Was the joy you felt fake because it happened in a computer? Most of us would say the life still had value. If the experience was identical to reality, then the joy was as real as joy gets. This leads to a troubling thought. If it doesn't matter at the end, why does it matter at the beginning? If the outcome is the same, a life of felt meaning and happiness, why are we so hesitant to choose the path that guarantees it? We are obsessed with the source, but we live entirely in the result. The machine simply asks us to be consistent with how we already live our lives. There is a specific kind of FOMO, fear of missing out, that applies to the entire universe. By entering the machine, you are effectively leaving the timeline of the real world. You will not know if humanity reaches the stars, or if the climate recovers, or what happens to the people you left behind. The world will continue to spin, messy and unpredictable, and you will not be a part of it. There is a fear that by choosing a perfect, private reality, we are abandoning our post in the collective one. We are choosing a gilded cage over the vast, terrifying, and genuine unknown. We worry that the real world, for all its flaws, is the only place where anything actually happens. But then, we must ask, what is happening in the real world that is so much more important than the life we are experiencing? Is the universe an audience, or is it a stage? Who are you when your environment is perfectly responsive to your needs? Much of what we call character is formed by how we respond to things we cannot control. We are defined by our patience in traffic, our resilience in grief, and our courage in the face of uncertainty. If you take away the uncontrollable, do you also take away the self? In the machine, you are the architect of your own context. You might become a kinder version of yourself because there is nothing to be angry about. You might become more creative because there is no fear of judgment. But is that you, or is it just a performance enabled by the software? We often think of the self as a solid thing, but the machine suggests it might be more like a liquid taking the shape of whatever container it is poured into. Without the cracks in the container, we might never know what we are made of. There is a strange divide in the act of choosing. The you that stands outside the machine is the one making the decision. That version of you is tired, perhaps a bit cynical, and aware of the machine's nature. But the you inside the machine will have no such knowledge. That version of you will just be a person living a life. In a sense, the present you is a parent making a decision for a future child. You are choosing to sacrifice your own truth so that another version of you can have happiness. Is it an act of ultimate self-care or an act of self-erasure? We often make decisions for our future selves, saving money, exercising, learning. This is just the extreme version of that impulse. We are trying to engineer a better life for a person we have not yet become, even if that person is a fiction living in a box. They say that once you are inside, you will forget it is a simulation. This is a crucial part of the deal. If you remembered the machine, every joy would be tainted by the knowledge of its origin. You would be a spectator in your own life, always looking for the seams in the wallpaper. But the forgetting is also a kind of death. You are losing the continuity of your story. You are cutting the thread that connects you to your ancestors, your childhood, and the real people you once knew. The price of perfect happiness is total ignorance. You must trade your history for your future. For some, this is a bargain, a chance to start over, without the baggage of the past. For others, that baggage is the only thing they truly own. The machine offers a clean slate, but it requires you to throw away the pen you've been using to write your life so far. Entering the machine is the ultimate act of control. You are literally deciding the nature of your universe. But once you are inside, it becomes the ultimate act of surrender. You are handing over the reins of your existence to an algorithm. You are trusting that the engineers knew what they were doing and that the machine will never fail. In the real world, we have a messy kind of agency. We can fight, we can change our minds, we can fail. In the machine, your agency is an illusion provided for your comfort. You are choosing things that have already been optimized for your satisfaction. It is a transition from being a pilot to being a passenger in a very comfortable first-class cabin. We must ask ourselves which we prefer, the cold wind of the cockpit or the soft pillows of the cabin. Both have their charms and both have their costs. Life is defined by its precarity. We live in the shadow of maybe. Maybe we will succeed. Maybe we will be loved. Maybe we will be healthy. This uncertainty is the source of much of our anxiety, but it is also the source of our hope. The machine replaces maybe with always. It offers a world where the outcome is guaranteed. There is a profound comfort in that certainty. To know that you will never be truly alone, that you will never fail at what you love, and that your body will not betray you. It is the end of anxiety. For a species that has spent its entire history terrified of the dark, the offer of a world where the lights never go out is incredibly tempting. We are being offered a vacation from the burden of chance. The question is whether we can truly be ourselves in a world where nothing can go wrong. There is a strange joy in the unexpected, the rain shower on a sunny day, the chance encounter with an old friend, the sudden discovery of a new passion. These things feel valuable precisely because they were not planned. They were gifts from a chaotic universe. In the machine, even the surprises are planned. They are calculated to provide the maximum amount of delight. Does a gift lose its value if you know it was always meant for you? Does a coincidence lose its magic if it's just a line of code? We often find that the best parts of our lives are the ones we didn't see coming. By entering a world of perfect design, we might be trading away the sublime, that feeling of being small in the face of a vast, unscripted reality. The machine is a garden, but the real world is a wilderness. We must decide which one we are built to inhabit. Those who refuse the machine often speak of truth. They believe that there is an intrinsic value in being in contact with reality, no matter how painful that reality might be. They argue that a happy lie is still a lie, and that a life based on a fiction is a wasted life. There is a sense of duty involved, a duty to witness the world as it actually is. They see the machine as a form of cowardice, a retreat from the responsibility of being human. They find meaning in the very things the machine seeks to eliminate: the struggle, the decay, and the absolute randomness of existence. For them, the real is not just a preference, it is a moral category. They would rather be a sad person in a real world than a happy ghost in a machine. They choose the cold, hard earth because it is the earth, and they are its children. Those who accept the machine often speak of mercy. They look at a world filled with unearned suffering, chronic pain, and systemic injustice, and they ask, why must we endure this? If we have the technology to give everyone a life of peace and fulfillment, is it not cruel to withhold it? They see the obsession with reality as a form of Stockholm Syndrome, a way of justifying the pain we are forced to experience. They argue that if the experience is identical, The distinction between real and artificial is purely academic. To them, a happy life is a successful life, regardless of its source. They choose the machine not out of cowardice, but out of a desire for a better existence. They see it as the ultimate human achievement, the moment we finally moved beyond the limitations of our biology and the cruelty of the physical world. Perhaps the most intriguing thought is that we might already be inside. If the machine is as perfect as we imagine, we would have no way of knowing. The life you are living right now, with its joys and its frustrations, could be the very simulation we are discussing. The real world could be something entirely different, something we have forgotten. If this were true, would it change anything? You would still have to decide what to do tomorrow. You would still care about the people around you. You would still seek meaning in your actions. If reality and simulation are truly indistinguishable, then the question of which one we are in becomes irrelevant. We are left only with the experience itself. We are here, in this moment, feeling whatever it is we are feeling. And perhaps, in the end, that is all that has ever mattered. We return to the room where we began. The door is still there. The chair is still waiting. The offer remains open. There is no timer, no deadline, and no right answer. Some will walk away, choosing the messy, unpredictable world outside. Others will sit down, choosing the perfect, tailored world within. Most of us will simply stand there for a long time, looking from one to the other. We are the only creatures we know of who can even ask this question, who can contemplate the nature of their own happiness and the value of their own reality. It is a heavy burden, but it is also a profound privilege. So, we leave the question hanging in the quiet air of the room. If you were offered the opportunity to plug in to live a perfectly happy, fulfilling life forever, would you? The silence follows you as you consider the answer.